just
John Quincy
curious.
Adams was, I think you could say he was probably the best educated of any president, maybe with the exception of his dad, John Adams. When his father was an envoy in France and Britain, he grew up in Europe and he was a New Englander. So he was part of the ancient regime, the aristocracy of America. And he spoke, I think, French, German, Spanish. I think he even spoke Russian. He was a polyglot and he ran for president. And he thought, I'm in the tradition of Washington. I'm in the New England, Virginia tradition of the aristocrats. And they were good people. They saved us with the Declaration and the Constitution. But my point is that I'm a Washingtonian, I'm John Adams, Jefferson. I am Madison. I am Monroe. Okay, but he was running against Andrew Jackson, who was not in that tradition because the country under Jefferson and Madison and the Manifest Destiny had acquired well over 1 million acres in Georgia and Florida and Louisiana, and they had taken the Louisiana Purchase and now were going out beyond the Appalachians, and they were getting a lot of immigration from Europe. They were frontiersmen, and Jackson was a hyper-U.S. nationalist. He was not that educated. There were stories about his wife, et cetera, and he ran, and it's pretty clear that he won the popular vote, and then the Electoral College was locked, and the aristocracy said, we are afraid of that guy. And then what they called the crooked deal or the crooked bargain, he promised Henry Clay, Secretary of State, if Henry Clay as an elector would vote for him. And he won that way, and Jackson just exploded and was shut out. At that point, he was not going to be reelected after 4 years because there was a lot of anger at him. And this is the beginning of the party system. The old Whig Federalist is over with. So now they're going to have a genuine two-party system, a liberal and conservative under various names. And Jackson came back 4 years later and won easily. And then, trashed the White House inauguration party. When you read Arthur Schlesinger and the old liberal historians, they'd always say the age of Jackson. And there was always complimentary about Jackson as compared to John Quincy Adams because he was a stuffed shirt. And Jackson was a man of the people. True. He was a populist. Yes. We needed that in America. Yes. And then all of a sudden, after the DEI thing, I know, but the Trail of Tears and the way he treated the Cherokees, even though they had slaves themselves, and what he said about indigenous people, we don't like him anymore. So he fell down. And then when he fell down, then people looked back at John Quincy Adams and he was a great president. He should have been reelected.